The universe stretched vast and unending, a cold and infinite ocean speckled with stars that bore witness to the birth and death of countless civilizations. Among those stars, a small blue planet had spun its final rotation. Earth's end was not unexpected, its destruction had been calculated down to the millisecond. Yet, knowing the moment of demise did little to diminish the weight of its finality. Hovering above the planetary graveyard in a sleek alien craft, two beings stood side by side, one human, one alien, both tethered to a shared fate. Jonah stared out of the viewport, his gaze locked on the churning inferno that had once been his home. His breath fogged the glass as he leaned forward, struggling to process the scene before him. Cities vaporized in an instant, oceans boiled into vapor, and the planet's crust shattered like fragile porcelain under the immense gravitational pull of the collapsing sun. He clenched his fists, feeling the tremor of rage and despair ripple through his body. "It's all gone," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the hum of the ship's systems. Beside him, Kalos stood in stoic silence, his elongated form shimmering faintly in the dim light of the control room. His species, the Xylan, were far older than humanity and had seen countless worlds meet similar fates. Yet, even for Kalos, the destruction of Earth carried a peculiar weight. He observed Jonah with his multifaceted eyes, the iridescent hues reflecting both curiosity and a faint echo of empathy. "Your world has succumbed to inevitability," Kalos said, his voice smooth and resonant, like a melody carried on a distant wind. "As all things do. Entropy claims all, in time." Jonah's head snapped toward the alien. "I don't need a lecture on entropy," he said, his words sharp-edged. "That was my home. My people. My history. Everything I've ever known. Gone." Kalos tilted his head, a gesture of contemplation. "And yet, you remain. You are a fragment of what was, carried forward into what will be." Jonah laughed bitterly. "What will be?" he echoed. "There is no will be. Not for Earth, not for humanity. We're nothing but ashes now." Kalos stepped closer, his movements fluid and deliberate. "Ashes are not an end," he said. "They are a beginning. From the remnants of a star, new worlds are born. From the decay of organic matter, life emerges anew. Destruction and creation are inseparable." Jonah turned back to the viewport, his anger simmering beneath the surface. He couldn't deny the truth in Kalos's words, but truth offered little solace. "You talk like this is just another day for you," he said. "Like you've seen so many worlds die that it doesn't even matter anymore." Kalos's gaze shifted, his multifaceted eyes catching the faint glow of the dying planet. "It is not indifference that tempers my perspective," he said. "It is understanding. I have witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, each unique in its beauty and its flaws. To mourn their passing is natural, but to dwell solely on their end is to overlook the grandeur of their existence." Jonah's shoulders sagged as the weight of Kalos's words sank in. He thought of the countless moments that defined humanity, the art, the music, the laughter, the love. All of it reduced to memory, and soon even memory would fade. "So what's the point?" he asked, his voice heavy with resignation. "If everything ends, if nothing lasts, then why does any of it matter?" Kalos's gaze remained fixed on the viewport, his expression inscrutable. "Meaning is not bestowed by permanence," he said. "It is forged in the fleeting moments, the choices made, the connections formed. Your people sought meaning in their art, their science, their relationships. That meaning does not vanish with the physical destruction of your world. It lingers, in you, in me, in the universe itself." Jonah shook his head, struggling to grasp the enormity of Kalos's philosophy. "Easy for you to say," he muttered. "Your species is still alive. Your home isn't a cloud of dust." Kalos turned to face him fully, his iridescent form shimmering with an almost imperceptible sadness. "My world, too, is gone," he said quietly. "Consumed by the inexorable march of time. My people survive, scattered among the stars, but the place of our origin exists only in memory. Perhaps that is why I chose to save you. To offer you a fragment of hope, as I was once offered." Jonah stared at him, his anger softening into a mix of curiosity and sorrow. "Why?" he asked. "Why did you save me? Out of all the billions of people, why me?" Kalos considered the question for a long moment. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "it was to remind myself of what it means to care. To preserve, even in the face of inevitable loss. Or perhaps it was simply because I could. Does the reason matter, if the outcome remains the same?" Jonah leaned back against the wall, his mind racing with thoughts he couldn't quite articulate. He wanted to hate Kalos, to blame him for the universe's indifference, but he couldn't. The alien's words carried a weight that felt uncomfortably close to truth. The ship's console beeped softly, breaking the silence. Kalos moved to the controls, his long fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "The gravitational collapse is complete," he said. "Your sun has become a black hole. Its remnants will seed the surrounding space with new energy, new possibilities." Jonah laughed, a sound that was more bitter than amused. "Great," he said. "We get to be cosmic fertilizer." Kalos tilted his head again, his iridescent eyes reflecting the faint glow of the control panel. "Fertilizer is not without purpose," he said. "It nourishes what comes next." Jonah sighed, running a hand through his hair. "You've got a metaphor for everything, don't you?" Kalos allowed a faint smile to cross his features, a rare expression for his kind. "It is my way of making sense of the chaos," he admitted. "Perhaps it can be yours, as well." Jonah fell silent, his gaze returning to the viewport. The black hole that had once been his sun loomed in the distance, a void of unimaginable power and mystery. He felt a strange sense of calm as he stared into its depths, as if the enormity of its presence put his own struggles into perspective. "What happens now?" he asked quietly. Kalos turned to him, his expression thoughtful. "That is for you to decide," he said. "You carry the legacy of your people. What you do with it is up to you." Jonah nodded slowly, the weight of Kalos's words settling over him. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time since Earth's destruction, he felt a glimmer of something he hadn't thought possible: hope. Together, human and alien watched the remnants of a world fade into the fabric of the cosmos, a silent testament to the resilience of existence itself.